And welcome to the Just in Time Post Show. It is Wednesday, August 28, 2024, and tonight I'll be talking about AEW Dynamite. But before I get into tonight's show, I just want to say and wish everybody a happy Power Rangers Day. August 28 is National Power Rangers Day. It was on this day 31 years ago when Day of the Dumpster first aired. And who would have thought a show about teenagers with attitude and color coordinating clothes and spandex would go on to last for 31 years? But with that being said, I did go to ParaMorphicon this past weekend, so feel free to check out some of the videos that I made. I have Walter Jones talking about what it felt like to return to Power Rangers, Johnny Young Bosch talking about wanting to return as a Green Zeo Ranger, Jason Font talking about what it was like working with JDF on the Legend of the White Dragon movie. I got the 20 minutes of the Red Ranger panel. I'm currently working on the Pink Ranger panel. And I do have the Cosmic Fury. More of the Red Ranger panel, make sure you check that out. I am working on putting on the location blog where we did go on a field trip onto different filming locations for Power Rangers. And then I'm also working on ParaMorphicon highlights. So make sure you hit that bell and you get notified whenever I release those videos. But with that being said, let's get into tonight's show. So tonight's show was a fallout from AEW All in London. And let's kick things off talking about Bryan Danielson. He addressed his future tonight. As we all know, he defeated Swerve Strickland at All In to capture the AEW World title. Now, Bryan's contract did expire August 1st. This is something that he confirmed tonight. And so with this, Bryan basically said that he will not retire as champion and he's going to fight for the title as much as he can. And he said that once he loses his full-time career is over, I still think that Bryan Danielson will be retiring at Wrestle Dream in his home state of Washington. So he basically said it's a first come, first serve. Whoever wants a shot could just show up. And the person who answered the call is none other than Jack Perry. I was not expecting Jack Perry to answer this call, but he says that he is a future world champion and the future of AEW are one and the same, and he attacks Bryan Danielson. So I definitely do think it's probably going to be the all-out match. It's going to be an interesting matchup, that's for sure. But I don't think Jack Perry is going to defeat Bryan Danielson. I think Bryan Danielson is going to go all the way to Wrestle Dream as AEW champion. Now, what did you guys think of this announcement? Who do you guys think Bryan Danielson will lose this title to? Personally, I think Darby Allin. I think at Wrestle Dream, I could see that happening. But this is a great way to close off the show. And we should enjoy Bryan Danielson while we still have him, because like he said, once he loses that title, his full-time career is over. So Jon Moxley kicked things off tonight. We haven't seen Jon Moxley since Forbidden Door. And this segment was interesting because he was in the ring and he got interviewed by Tony Schiavone, and basically he said that it's going to take some time for everybody to wrap their brains around this. And he tells Tony Schiavone this is not his company anymore. And as he's walking away, they zoom in on a guy wearing a CM Punk t-shirt. And later on in the night, he's asked what he's meant out there. And Marina Shafir seems to be aligned with Jon Moxley. So I guess Jon Moxley and the Blackpool Combat Club are over. But this is interesting. Are we going to see an AEW version of the Invasion? I know there were rumors that Tony Khan had talked to Shane O'Mac. There's even a picture of Shane O'Mac talking to Tony Khan. So who knows? I say it's Darby Allin or Wrestle Dream and not Jack Perry. What did Jack Perry do to serve? Yeah, I definitely do think Jack Perry is the all-out match, and Darby Allin's probably going to be the Wrestle Dream match. So like I was saying, are we going to see AEW's version of the Invasion? Like, is Jon Moxley recruiting people? But then again, Oh yeah, Marina Shafir was in NXT. Yeah, she was. So who could possibly be Jon Moxley be recruiting? Maybe former X-WWE superstars? I don't know. Like, are we gonna see Shane O'Mac like pop up on that Titantron and say, "I now own AEW"? It got me intrigued, that's for sure. I'm curious to see how far this leads, but they did put a sudden stop to Team AEW versus Team Elite. Is Power Rangers super dark in the comics like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? I believe it is. I personally don't read the comics, but from what I've seen, I think it is pretty dark. So, but what did you guys think of this Jon Moxley segment? You guys think we're going to see an invasion in AEW? Let me know in the comment section or in the live chat. So we get the I still can't say this, Conglomeration and Hook, and they're basically talking about their match tonight, but we do find out that Willow chooses a Chicago street fight for her match with Kris Statlander at All Out. And the word of the day is inability. We get an amazing match between Hangman Adam Page versus Tomohiro Ishii. Let's see. I see a new faction in the works. Jon Moxley, Shane McMahon, and his son, and the problem Marina Shafir. Okay. You think they'll add anybody else? So actually, this was a really great match. I mean, like, I was expecting it to be good, and I was right. Like, it was a really great match. I really like the chop exchange, the elbow exchange. It was a really cool match. This was the opening match because this followed the interview in the Jon Moxley segment. I love it when they take a kid's show and just tear all in and just make it show horrifying. Well, Once and Always I thought was pretty interesting. They do kill off Trini in Once and Always. So Hangman Adam Page ends up being victorious after he hits the dead eye in the buckshot layer to Tomohiro Ishii here. And after this, we get Hangman Adam Page in a Swerve Strickland segment. Now, I really did enjoy this segment because since Hangman came back, he's been obsessed with Swerve Strickland. And even Swerve Strickland brings this up. He says that, he couldn't focus on the Owen. He couldn't win the casino, and he cost his team the match because he was just so focused and so obsessed with Swerve Strickland that's all that he cared about. Swerve Strickland does reveal that Hangman Adam Page did have a baby number 2, as he mentioned, seeing Hangman escort his pregnant wife down the stairs. Hangman does bring up a good point over the fact that Swerve Strickland hasn't been able to beat him. He needed Prince Nana, Brian Cage, and he couldn't beat Hangman in 30 minutes. So at All Out, we are getting a steel cage match between the two. I think it's going to be a really great match. I cannot wait. I was there for the Texas Death match that they did at Full Gear, and that was really great. And at the end, Hangman walks away after basically Swerve Strickland says, what kind of man, what kind of father was he going to be? So really great segment. We had Jamie Hayter versus Harley Cameron. I mean, this was, I don't want to call this an enhancement match, but this pretty much what it was. I mean, Harley Cameron was not going to beat Jamie Hayter out there. This was her first match back in 15 months. There was no way she was losing this. And yeah, she did win. She was victorious. We get a learning tree interview. And honestly, I'm just not a big fan of the learning tree. Out of all of Chris Jericho's gimmicks that he's had in AEW, this is my least favorite one. But the whole point of this, it seems like Roderick Strong is going to wants Chris Jericho to help him take Kyle O'Reilly away from Orange Cassidy. And I do like Chris Jericho bringing up the fact that Orange Cassidy still owes him money. If you guys remember way back in the early days of AEW Dynamite, Orange Cassidy destroyed Chris Jericho's jacket. And apparently he's never paid him back because Chris Jericho says he still owes him $7,000 for that jacket. We get an MJF segment. And he's talking about how he's lost his ring, his title, and he gained 2 herniated discs at All In. And the whole point of this is Daniel Garcia returns and he attacks MJF and challenges MJF to a match at All Out. So I think that's a match that Daniel Garcia should win. If you ask me, my opinion, at least. But what did you guys think of this? I feel like it was coming since, MJF did take out Daniel Garcia, and Daniel Garcia did cost MJF that international title. Now, I was not a huge fan of the Hook in the Conglomeration versus Roderick in the Learning Tree. I mean, that was a decent match, but I just don't like the Learning Tree. Now, interesting thing, Hook won the match for his team, but Roderick Strong had his foot on the rope, and at the end, he's holding up the FTW title after the Kingdom attacks Hook. So maybe that is Hook's next challenger for that FTW title, Roderick Strong. We had a City's Monè segment, and I thought this was a pretty interesting segment. You guys remember how Okada was talking to Monè? Okada was in this, and she asked him how to say goodbye in Japanese. she says it. So, wonder if there's anything going on there storyline wise. I know she is a heel, and it would make sense for her to kind of be aligned with the Elite, because she did call them her favorite EVPs. We have Mariah's May's championship celebration, and according to her, she postponed it, but she had this robe on, and she took off the robe, and she had this lacy dress on where she had the title around her waist. So I'm curious to see what kind of championship celebration we eventually get from Mariah May, but it's probably going to be glamorous, just like she is. We get a Grizzled Young Vet segment, and it seems like they're all Elite. They did mention that they're here to stay, and they're coming for the tag titles. Now, I haven't seen anything that says that they're signed with AEW, but the fact they said that they're here to stay kind of makes it seem like they are with AEW. They debuted it at All In after the match for the tag titles, and they attacked FTR. And they said the reason why they attacked FTR was because it was a message for them in the entire locker room. And they warned the Bucks that they're not messing around. So maybe the Grizzled Young Vets are the ones that take those tag titles off the Bucks. I mean, they are gonna need to fill the void of the Lucha Brothers, and I think the Grizzled Young Vets will do that. Will do just that. I really wish that they would have won the Impact, the TNA tag titles when they were in TNA. Fortunately, that didn't happen, but I think that they'll probably win the AEW tag titles. I don't know if it'll happen at all out, but maybe a Wrestle Dream, but it'll definitely gonna probably take those tag titles off the Bucks. We get Ricochet versus Kyle Fletcher. This is Ricochet's in-ring debut for AEW, and I thought this was a really good match. I felt like Kyle Fletcher and Ricochet, in terms of styles, had very similar styles here. So surprised Ricochet won this. I mean, you're not going to make him lose in his debut match on AEW Dynamite here. Now, at the end, Will Ospreay came out, and it's like Will Ospreay was the one enticing Ricochet to come to AEW. But before Ospreay could even say anything, he gets attacked by Pac. And Pac basically tells Will Ospreay not to forget about him. So, he does have a match for the international title at All Out. And Pac does tell Ricochet to get to the back of the line, get everyone else, because Will Ospreay belongs to him. I honestly cannot wait to see a match between Ricochet and Will Ospreay, and Ricochet versus Pac. I don't think that we've ever had a Ricochet versus Pac match. Pac was gone before. I think Pac was gone before Ricochet joined the main roster. So overall, I thought this was a pretty decent Dynamite. Like I said, I just didn't care for the learning tree as much. But with that being said, on a scale from a 1 to a Shawn Spears perfect 10, I have to say, I think this is a 7. I thought it had some good stuff on tonight's Dynamite. It's just the learning tree didn't do it for me. All right. So with that being said, you guys, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And like I said, today is Power Rangers Day. So happy Power Rangers Day to everybody. May the power protect each and every one of you. You guys make sure you check out my stuff in Power Morphicon. And I hope you guys have a more phenomenal evening, night, day, wherever you guys may be. And I'll see you guys tomorrow on Body Slam for the Go Home Show to TNA Emergence. Bye.